Good evening and hello everyone. I have great respect for the work of Haaretz, and I'm very pleased that this conference is taking place in Berlin and that KIgA is a partner. And I must admit, my speech is a bit emotional and maybe even a bit sentimental, but everything I tell you is backed up by our international work and our work in Germany, and it's from my heart. Imagine a lighthouse on a stormy night. The sky is dark and cloudy, the sea is wild, and the ships seem to be lost and without any orientation. Thank God, there's a lighthouse. It's just standing there, unwavering. It does not go out to fight the storm. It does not choose between the sea and the rocks. It simply stands, steady, reliable, unshaken, and offers something priceless: orientation. A lighthouse gives direction without domination. Its strength lies not in power, but in clarity. And in times of global turmoil, Germany could be that lighthouse, a country that guides through empathy, balance, and moral conviction. But unfortunately, it was not. Germany's history carries both a heavy burden and a rare gift. Out of the horrors of the Holocaust came a principle that defines our moral compass: never again. Some lessons and results are a democratic state with a powerful constitution based on human rights, the creation of a united and peaceful Europe, the European Union, a special connection to the State of Israel, the International Court of Justice, being a member of the United Nations. Never again must never be applied singularly and selectively. Our commitment to Israel, to its security, its right to exist, and the safety of its people is unwavering. Yet this commitment extends further. The moral awareness that emerged after the Shoah binds us not only to Israel, but also to the Palestinians. History has shown that the birth of one state left lasting consequences for another, and we bear a responsibility to both. Since both peoples share this land, Germany's responsibility lies in striving for fairness toward all. Even if our intention were to stand solely with Israel, true fairness exists without recognizing the Palestinians as well. True fairness cannot exist without recognizing the Palestinians as well. One cannot uphold Israel's future while turning away from Palestinian realities and perspectives. In the recent Israel-Gaza conflict, Germany had a historic opportunity to be a mediator, a moral voice, a stabilizing presence, a lighthouse shining through fear and polarization. But instead of stepping forward with confidence in our lessons from history, we step back. I assume this has something to do with uncertainty and fear. A lighthouse does not panic when the storm begins. It doesn't step back. It stands there, stable, unwaveringly shining its light. So why is Germany uncertain and driven by fear? We all know the saying, you must know your past to shape your future. But does Germany truly know its past? Have we come to terms with it in a way that gives us strength to today's challenges? To be clear, Germany missed an opportunity to take a leading role in facilitating peace negotiations. And in doing so, Germany has lost some trust internationally, a sentiment we hear from partners and even German diplomats around the world. Neither the Israelis nor the Palestinians are fully satisfied with Germany's stance. Listening to many Jews in Germany, we hear a clear message. They do not feel safe. Anti-Semitism is rising, and political rhetoric of never again, without real action, deepens this fear. At the same time, rising anti-Muslim racism and the growth of the far-right AfD make the situation even more dangerous. We can also see some attempts to showcase the conflict as a religious one, or to declare the Muslims as the main perpetrators, especially of the Israel-related forms of anti-Semitism. This narrative ignores two facts. First, a large majority of people in Germany, 80%, this is far beyond the Muslim population, opposed Israel's war in Gaza. So the majority here are Germans who are not Muslims. Two, people around the world, including in Europe and the so-called Global South, from Venezuela to Japan, are taking a pro-Palestinian stance. And just think of the strikes in Christian-dominated Italy. How Germany is handling it, the political discourse, is manipulative, dangerous, and wrong. Germany's role is not only political, it's moral and social. In our diverse society, empathy is the foundation of unity. It helps us to resist polarization and strengthen cohesion. When empathy freezes, society fractures. As an NGO, we are currently experiencing attacks against civil society firsthand. A strong civil society is always an expression of self-confident, healthy democracy. But democracy is currently ailing. Minorities are being pitted against each other, and civil society is being literally destroyed. The same Germany that does not want to be a beacon in the so-called Middle East conflict also fails to provide guidance, stability, and thus social cohesion at home. Again, a lighthouse does not choose which ships deserves its light. It shines for all. One of the biggest challenges of our time is polarization. One result of polarization is that we are no longer able to listen to others, to see their perspectives, and yes, to feel their pain. Enough of the problem outline. Let's move on to the solutions. Empathy freezes when we see only our own pain. It unfreezes when we make space for the pain of others. Unfreeze means seeing the other side, even when it's uncomfortable. Shifting perspectives, even when it challenges us. Listening, not to reply, but to understand. When an Israeli mother fears for her child, that fear is real. When a Palestinian mother fears for her child, that fear is real. One of the most charged words since October 7 is genocide. When such a term is used, we must take it seriously. As educators, we know that before reacting, especially when a word feels provocative or unreasonable, we should ask questions. What do you mean by that? How are you using the term? What leads you to this conclusion? Clarification is not agreement. It simply ensures we are talking about the same thing. First, clarify, and then argue and debate. In this specific case, the reflex to dismiss such claims outright as anti-Semitic on the one hand, and the instrumental accusatory use of the term to inflict maximal damage and delegitimize Israel on the other are both dead ends. You could call it a zero-sum game. We need good faith debates, not ideological shadow boxing. I have Turkish roots, and I know the long history of denial surrounding the Armenian genocide. As a German, I know the dangers of Holocaust denial and distortion. And as a European, I know how long it took to name and commemorate the genocide at Srebrenica. We must approach these issues with sincerity and reason. Sometimes, when I'm at loss, even desperate, I'm glad to be a person of faith. I'm a Muslim. I believe in God. And I believe in the good in people. Without empathy, it's difficult to maintain this focus. Empathy means understanding others, feeling for others, loving people. And for me, that is what life is all about. That is why empathy is so crucial. The opposite of empathy is not hatred, it's indifference. We need more actions and encounters to overcome this. Our years of dialogue projects have confirmed this time and time again. People with huge prejudices have become friends and have started to implement joint projects. What it takes is patience and openness, and above all, empathy. Why patience? Sometimes it's truly hard to endure the intolerant or hateful views of others. But it's worth it, because we can change them. And why openness? Because we cannot imagine how influenced and biased we all can be. The world does not only need power, it needs orientation. It needs empathy. It needs voices that stand firm when the waves rise high. Germany can still be that voice. Germany can still be that lighthouse. The question is not, are the storms too strong? The question is, do we dare to unfreeze empathy and turn the light back on? Thank you.
Thank you so much.